I'm Natalie from Doodlecraft. I'm also a Plaid creator, and I'm excited to do a paint along lesson with you. Today we're going to do this vibrant tropical sunset with florals, and you can customize it however you want. Let's get started. Supplies needed for this project are a wooden slat pallet circle and your choice of a word cutout like hello or create, or you could use a big monogram letter. You will also need Plaid multi-surface paint. This is satin finish and it is my absolute favorite paint. I'm using bright pink, pure orange, daffodil yellow, lime green, and aqua. And you'll probably want some secondary colors as well. You'll need a 1-inch flat paintbrush and a size 6 round brush. You will want a paint palette as well as a wet cloth. Mine is off camera. Let's talk about color theory first. When blending colors, make sure you're not mixing complementary colors or colors straight across from each other on the color wheel, like red or green, or they will turn out a muddy shade of brown. Pick colors that are side by side on the color wheel for beautiful color blends. I pretty much just go in rainbow order to solve this. Now fill up your paint palette with a good size of each color of paint. Begin by painting the top section of the wood palette surface with bright pink, but not going all the way down to the first slat edge. We're using 5 colors of paint with only 4 slats on the palette to create this blended effect. Once the top section is painted, I just use a wet cloth to gently clean off the excess paint off my brush and then dive right into the orange paint. I'm going to start by painting the top section of the next slat and then bring it back up by the pink paint to blend those 2 colors together. Before proceeding to the yellow paint, I wipe all the excess orange paint off my paintbrush so that the yellow paint can be as vibrant as possible. And then paint the whole section of the palette and then smooth it back up and blend it into the orange paint. Now proceed with the green paint, blending it up into the yellow paint, and finish it off using the aqua paint and blending it into the green paint to create the perfect tropical sunset. I let my palette dry before doing this next step. And I'm just gonna use the same colors of paint to paint around the edges of this palette sign. The blending between colors doesn't have to be as carefully done as it was on the front, just so that the edges look finished. Now let's paint the word sign by first removing the sticker on the back. If you have a sticker that's hard to remove, just heat it up with a hairdryer and that will make it much easier to peel off. I'm going to use the aqua paint because that is my favorite color and paint the whole top surface of my little hello. After painting, I realized that the edges of my hello needed a little editing, so I'm just going to use a baby wipe and clean the insides and outside edges of the letters. I am totally not a perfectionist. I am a sloppy painter. It's just my style. And so if you want to take a little bit more time to paint it carefully, that's totally up to you. I just find that getting the paint on quick and then touching up where I need to afterwards is the way I do it. Once that hello is painted, set it aside so it can dry. Now I'm going to change my camera angle so that you can kind of see how I do my brush strokes for flowers. My flowers are super messy and loose. I'm just going to use my round brush, size 6, and fill it with quite a bit of paint. The small end of the brush is going to make the small tip end of a petal, and then as I press and lift, it should create that same pointed oval shape. A loose rose is done by creating little C shapes around the center. So they're just going to be little curved petals that loosely fit around a circle. And I find that the the best effect is to make sure that some of the background paper or surface is still showing. So as I turn the camera back and we start putting florals on the wood slat, you can go ahead and practice on paper till you feel comfortable, or just give it a try. Let's start by painting 6-petal flowers in bright pink. Then go in and add some of the baby pink into the bright pink paint to give it a two-tone, thick paint effect. I like to make really thick, goopy paint flowers because it gives it some texture on a flat wood surface. So you'll see as I do this, I go back over the flower a few times to make sure that the thickness of the paint is exactly where I want it. And I like the two-tone paint colors on all of my loose florals. So you'll see that with the flowers I do have at least 2 colors, as well as the leaves. Some of the other background leaves just have 1 color, but if I'm giving it a little more detail, I like the goopy look of 2 colors together. Now let's add some fern-like leaves using the patina colored paint. Paint a thin, slightly curved line coming out from one of the flowers and paint about 5 to 6 leaves using the same brush shape as the flower petals. I don't do much planning ahead while painting flowers. I just want to make a cluster of flowers around the left side of the surface, and I fill in the empty spaces as I go. I am slightly planning ahead for the large roses that we will paint next. For my purple roses, I'm mixing them with white so that I can get a pastel shade to complement the darker shade. And again, I'm going to just make those little C curve shaped petals around in a circular pattern to create the rose shape. You'll see that the tropical sunset background colors will peek through a little bit. Now let's go in and use a darker shade of green to add leaves to these purple roses. Now add some light green paint to the leaves for that textured two-toned effect. I always rinse my paintbrushes in this little teacup so that I don't accidentally drink my paint water. Now make 5-petaled plumeria flowers using the paint color Fire Coral. Then I use the pure orange and go back in and add little details in the Fire Coral flower. I love seeing the colorful flowers pop differently on the different background colors that they're painted on. Now turn your paintbrush over and use the back end of it to make little dots in the center of your pink 6-petaled flowers. I do somewhere between 3 and 5 dots each. Now I'm going to paint some longer, wispier ferns using the aqua color. And sorry, I turned the surface so it's off screen. Allie, no! Oh man, at least she only stepped in the empty pink paint. That could have been a disaster. Anyone else have a furry friend that loves arts and crafts time? Back on track, we're going to paint some small green leaves to go with our little coral plumerias. I'm not going to bother to use the two-tone paint on these little tiny green leaves. I am going to finish this painting off with some little blue plus signs or X's here and there around the flowers like confetti. I'm not quite satisfied with the texture and thickness of the paint on the purple roses. So now that I am just about done, I'm going to go back in and add a little bit more detail to those 3 main flowers. Now, I didn't mention this in the supplies needed for this paint along, but if you have the Mod Podge Gloss Luster Iridescent Acrylic Sealer, I'm going to spray a little all over my hello cutout before I glue it on. Just to add a little bit of sparkle. Now simply add some hot glue to the back of the word and adhere it to the tropical floral sign. And that's it. Thank you so much for painting along with me today. I had a really fun time, and now you can see a little bit more of my style. I love bright colors and I love everything tropical. If you painted along, please share pictures and tag me at Doodlecraft so that I can cheer you on. Thanks, bye.